This has got to be the most hilarious Hearthstone card ever printed. Elwynn Boar is probably going to be one of the best meme cards that's ever been created, because not only is the Sword of a Thousand Truths a great reference to the Make Love Not Warcraft South Park episode, but just when you read this card, you just go, "Awooga, what?" Like, there's just really no other way to describe this card. So I couldn't help myself. I have made a combo in every single class in Hearthstone, and funny enough, there's actually a combo that's possible with only neutral cards. So I'm going to show you guys 11 different combos that are possible with Hearthstone in order to pop off the Sword of a Thousand Truths combo. Now, be warned, some of these combos are a little bit difficult to do, so the way that I will explain these combos is I will show you the cards required for the combo itself, and then a deck that it can potentially fit in. But something to know about these decks is that obviously they're not going to be 100% optimized. I did everything I could in order to really try my best with my deck building skills, but hopefully you guys will enjoy the decks that I have provided, and those deck codes will be down below in case you guys also want to copy those and maybe improve them yourself. But let's go ahead and jump into the 11 combos that I have prepared for Elwynn Boar on day one. So this first combo is going to give you a good idea of how exactly we set this up for a lot of the classes, but Terran Gorefiend is an absolute just monster when it comes to popping off these particular OTKs. So the way that we set up the Druid combo particularly is actually in addition to Oracle of Elwynn, which came out not too long ago. But you play Oracle of Elwynn into double Elwynn Boar, which will summon 4 boars total. Then you can play Terran Gorefiend into Naturalize in order for Terran to kill all the minions and then resummon them, so therefore you have 8 boars total. Then you can play your Explosive Sheep into Moonfire to kill the remaining boars to give you the weapon. And the best part about this combo is it's exactly 10 mana. You don't have to set up like any kind of Lightning Bloom combos. The only thing that comes to mind that might be a little bit difficult is getting across taunts, but the deck that I have provided for this is just a simple Miracle Druid. Miracle Druid is a lot of fun in my experience with Hearthstone, and you have ways of like cheating mana with like Innervate, Lightning Bloom, as well as Biology Project. So you have Naturalizes, you have Spellstones, and you have other forms of removal that you can put into this deck if you really need it. But this is the path that I have chosen, the branching path I have chosen, if you will, just because I am very familiar with this deck. But really, as long as you're able to just, pop off this combo with your opponent not having any taunts, it really doesn't matter what kind of deck you put this in. But I really like to make Miracle style of decks personally. Moving on to the Hunter combo, it's actually fairly simple, and just like the Druid combo, it's exactly 10 mana, except it's less cards. But for this one, you just have to play Houndmaster Shaw into your boars, so your boars will automatically have Rush when you play them. You trade them, and then you play Revenge of the Wild, which will bring back 2 more boars. You trade those boars, and then you play Revenge of the Wild again in order to give you 4 boars total. Luckily for you, you only need your opponent to have a 7 HP minion, and you can kind of, maybe pick at some taunts if that's somewhat of a worry. But regardless, you get the weapon very, very easily. You smack them in the face, and you just wait. That's the greatest thing about these combos is as long as your opponent has nothing on the field and you smack them in the face, there's nothing they can do. Like, there's no 1-mana card unless you're playing like Paladin and it's like a Taunt Divine Shield that gets in the way of you being able to just kill your opponent the next turn. So you just wait. You just sit there and wait, hit them in the face, and as they struggle to do nothing, just keep zapping their mana over and over again. And the deck that I have decided to put in here is like a weird Miracle Hunter that I saw from Duin. So like there's a lot of 1-drops in here, and just bear with me for a second. But your Starving Buzzard is essentially like your Gadgetzin. So all you want to do is just draw all these cards very, very quickly. You have Finley to maybe give you like a more proactive, maybe like reactive healing hero power if you need it. You have Mana Saber for discounts, because you do need to get 10 mana very, very quickly. Maybe you could fit in another one to try and make this combo pop off as soon as possible, but I mean, maybe I could actually get rid of like a Spring Paw or something like that just because you have a bunch of 1-drops. But this is just the direction that I saw, and I thought it was pretty funny. Maybe you could cut like an Arcane Shot just because... actually, I would cut Arcane Shot from this, so let me go ahead and do that. because the original version of this deck, I was trying to make Kodobane work, and as you can see, he's no longer in this version. But, I mean, I really don't know the best way of building this because Control Hunter really isn't that good. But this combo being only 5 cards and 10 mana seems very promising to me. The next combo is the Mage one, and if you want my honest opinion, this is the one that I'm probably looking forward to the most because it utilizes the Time Warp quest. You want to be able to set up a Vargoth Time Warp quest in order to give yourself 2 turns to set up this really wacky OTK. And how exactly do we do this? Well, you play Khadgar into Boar, and then you play Molten Reflections in order for Khadgar to summon 2 additional Boars. So you have 1 Khadgar and 3 Boars. Then you play Terran Gorefiend to kill all those minions, and in the middle of this, you're gonna have to have already played your Mana Biscuit Conjure card in order to give yourself the refresh for mana. So you play that, then you're able to play Dragon's Breath on the Terran Gorefiend, and when that happens, Khadgar will be summoned first, which is why it's very important you play Khadgar first. And then 3 Boars will pop out, and since, they pop out from a card that, summons something differently, you can, double this up and you have 6 Boars total. Then you can play Volcanic Potion, kill all the Boars, and you have the weapon. And the best part about it is you can swing, use the second turn, swing again to kill your opponent. So this is actually a full-on OTK to where you kill your opponent without them having any kind of interaction with it. And this is the build of Quest Mage that I have decided to build. I'm not really the biggest fan of it just because I feel like there might be more random cards, but this feels like a good idea because you just need a freeze, you just need an ice block, and as long as you're not taking fatigue, I don't think you have anything to worry about. This could be a very real way that people decide to build this deck from here on out in terms of just being able to kill off your opponent in a funny way. Yeah, giants and whatnot are cool, but it's been a minute since Quest Mage has been able to be used in a pretty hilarious meme way. So I'm really excited to be able to play this deck in particular just because I know how hilarious the potential highlight clip is going to be. This next combo is probably going to be one of the most complicated ones that we have, but just work with me here for a second because I've explained this one several times to where I finally think I understand how this works. But if you've been looking at these set of cards for more than a couple of seconds, don't worry, this is a pretty complicated combo. So the way that this one needs to work is you have Barav and Broom as a way of being able to clear, and if you hit Emperor Thorson on all of these cards, then it works perfectly. But let's just go ahead and use a situation to where you don't have to use Barav and Broom. Then Thorson just needs to hit all but 2 of these cards. So if you have a situation where you can just throw them down, that's nice. But for this combo itself, it's just 8 mana. So let me go ahead and tell you what it is. The way that you pop off this combo is you play 1 Boar, and then you play double Desperate Stand on that 1 Boar. And then you will play the other board onto the field because it really doesn't matter. Then you will play Pyromancer onto Gif of Luminance on the board that you played double Desperate Stand on. So that way the Pyro will kill one of the boars already, and the 2 boars that'll survive are the ones that bring back now 4 minions. You play Sound the Bells on the Pyromancer, which will kill these boars, summoning 4 of them now, and you've killed 3, so once you play the second Sound the Bells, it will kill the boar again, in order to give you the weapon. So that way you can just swing face, and if you have enough mana, you can do the Barav Broom beforehand in order to clear the board to give yourself the right to face. But this combo is one that was suggested by UltiKon. His links will be down below, and he was honestly responsible for a lot of these combos. But this one in particular was a big brain combo that I definitely would not have been able to thought of by myself. But this one is something I'm very, very interested in making to the point where this is the build that I have decided on. The more I think about it, the more I think that maybe Barricade could be like Kazakus or something, but the rest of this deck is just supposed to be like a Miracle style of Paladin to where you just have a lot of draw options, you have lifesteal, and you have like ways of being able to stall the game with like timeout and whatnot. But this Paladin deck, I believe, could have some potential. But the issue is obviously surviving in a very, very aggressive wild meta. But this is such a big brain combo that I'm going to see if I can maybe pop it off on day 1. But huge shout out to OTKon for this amazing spot. This next combo can actually be done on turn 7 if you have coin and your draw is absolutely perfect. But some of you have probably already seen this on Twitter because that's where I saw it. But the way that this combo works is it's sort of like APM Test Subject Priest, if you're familiar with like that old Topsy Turvy combo, but it's very, very easier compared to how complicated that combo was. But the way that you set it up is you just need to play Baron into Radiant Elemental and Test Subject, so that way you can play Boar and 0 mana Embalming Rituals and Holy Smites. So you play Embalming Ritual and Holy Smite on your Test Subject a whole bunch. Because the Baron Rivendare will trigger this Death Rattle twice, it will give you 2 Embalming Rituals and 2 Holy Smites. So all you have to do is just fill up your hand with that over and over again with the Test Subject combo, and then you do the exact same thing to Boar 7 times in order to give yourself the weapon. And the funny thing about this combo is that you actually are giving yourself a whole lot of Holy Smites, so you can kind of run down taunts. I just don't know about how much time you are going to be given in order to pop this off. So the APM is still up in the air on whether or not we're going to be able to really OTK with this, but there is literally a turn 7 OTK possible if you're on coin with this particular build. So I have decided to make a, another Miracle deck, and the thing about this version particularly is that we're playing a Nazmani build, so we might be able to pop this off sooner than turn 7, depending on how lucky our draw is. But yeah, I think that this is a legitimate deck that could actually see play in the wild meta because you're able to cheat out games very, very quickly, and you have a way of being able to essentially generate infinite damage to kill any taunt you want to come across. So this deck, I would keep an eye out for because Wild might be broken by Priest yet again, and I'm not sure if people are going to be that excited for the Sword of 1,000 Truths if it's killing them every single game. The Rogue combo is something that kind of scares me. I am not going to lie, guys. This combo also has some applications in Standard, but I'm not looking at Standard today. That will be another video because I need to do some more looking around and those possibilities. Plus, we haven't been given all the cards yet, so that's another reason why I'm holding off on that one. But for Wild specifically, we have Sonya Shadow Dancer and Elwynn Boar with Animated Broomstick. And the way that you make this work mana-wise is all you need to do is just hit Octobot into Sonya, both your Boars and your Broomstick. And if you really just want to make it easier on yourself, you could also Shadow Step the Sonya. So that way, all you have to do is just discount either 2 Boars or the Broomstick. Sometimes that can happen. You just need 2 discounts out of these 3 cards, and then it'll work mana-wise. Pinflinger and Octobot, great way of being able to do that. So all you have to do is just make a Field Contact deck that just easily discounts itself and draws itself very, very easily, and you can just run Vanish without any kind of worry to get rid of any cards that you need after you've already gotten the board discount. But yeah, you have not necessarily infinite damage because you don't have ways of being able to give yourself a card that cheats mana, but you do have an APM Rogue that can make this work. Field Contact, Octobot decks are probably going to be really good in Standard. I don't know how good they're going to be in Wild because aggro kind of just like is the reason why these decks are never going to be that good. But regardless, the possibility is there. Priest might be a victim of this fairly often, and I think this might be another consistent way of being able to pop off a Elwynn Boar combo. So to anybody who thinks that this kind of card just can't be used, getting 7 of a minion is really not as hard as you think it might be. For the Shaman combo, I want you guys just to look at these cards for a bit, because the more you think about it, the more it's going to make sense. So this one is definitely a huge meme, and I'm gonna do some more investigating on Shaman because there's a Inara combo that I want to be able to pop off, but it's just a really complicated setup, I believe. But I've decided to make a Reno Shaman because Reno Shaman's actually not that bad in Wild right now, but it's only centered around being able to play Shudderwalk into N'Zoth to bring back the Boars, so that way you can just, kill the Boars by bringing them back into your hand and using the battle cry that way. So I think that is absolutely hilarious just doing the combo this way. So all you have is just survivability. You have Pull Kilt instead of Talon Fordream because you don't want any death rattles in your pool. I do have Serpent Shrine Portal, and I might want to take this out just because you don't want any possibilities of getting death rattle cards. It's kind of where I went with this particular build of the deck. Survivability and clear is the name of the game, and then you just play your Shudderwalk after you played all of your Battlecry cards, so that way the Elwynn Boars are brought back with the Battlecry, and then once you have a full board that can't be returned to your hand, they die off the field. So this is a pretty funny combo. I'm not sure if Shaman is going to have a better way of being able to slap the Inara, but this is just the best way that I could have thought about it because I have the one turn with Shudderwalk that I need to set up, right? And then I do my massive Shudderwalk turn, and that could be easily done with less than 5 1-mana Shudderwalks. Then you just play Inara Stormclash and just hit twice with the weapon. So that was the easiest way I could think of immediately. Maybe not necessarily the easiest way in theory, but the easiest way to make this deck. And just the Shaman combo was just really, really complicated in terms of setting up like Celestial Alignment and Reincarnate, which was the idea I was originally going for, which is probably still going to be the way this needs to go. But this version of the deck looks like a lot of fun, and if you love Shudderwalk memes, this is definitely going to be a deck for you, and I think Martian Boo might pick this up. So Martian, if you're watching this video, I better see you playing some board decks on day one. This next combo is very similar to the neutral setup, but unfortunately for Warlock, there was just a lot of really goofy ways of being able to set this up, from like maybe doing something with Raise Dead to like Glenda setups. But the issue with setting up with Glenda is that you needed to like get it to like 3 mana, and there's just not a lot of easy ways of being able to do this. Luckily, there is a new weapon that is coming out that is able to reduce Warlock's hand very, very easily. But the direction that I've decided to take this deck is actually Quest Warlock, because of how many, you know, mana discounts that I can get in this particular build. But I also have like some demons to help me keep myself alive. But the other thing to keep in mind with this combo is that I have cards like Zola and Betrug in order to make it easier to pull off this particular combo. So Warlock has a lot of really weird ways of being able to go about it, and I kind of just felt like overwhelmed by how many possibilities there were, to where I wasn't sure 100% on how to be able to set up this combo. But for Warlock in particular, it's a little bit easier. You just play both of your boars into your Terran Gorefiend. You kill off the Terran, which will bring back the boars. You can kill the boars again with like an animated broomstick, and then you can play your High Inquisitor Whitemane in order to bring back your Terran and your 4 boars, and you can kill the board again in order to do that. So you actually will need another broom or another Plague of Flames in order to make this particular combo work, which is why Warlock it's kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly the best direction to go with this, but this is the deck that I decided to stick on, and which will be the one I might play on day one. But regardless, this is the build that I have. It's got healing, it's got demons to keep you on the board so you can kind of fight back against aggro, and you also have plenty of mana discounts in order to make this work. Supreme Archaeology in order to give yourself 0 mana cards, so hopefully it'll work out very, very easily for you. And Plot Twist in order to, you know, get a mulligan in case you get the combo cards right in your hand. But regardless, you do have Thorson, and you do have the weapon, which I believe will give this deck a decent amount of gas. But aside from that, Warlock seems very open-ended in terms of how it's going to set up its particular Elwynn Boar combo. And I might just have to wait for Mark McKay-Z to come up with this particular combo, because I was looking at Warlock for a while, and I'm kind of stumped, I'm not going to lie. This Warrior deck, I believe, actually has a very real application if you are a Dead Man's Hand Warrior fanatic. The way that I'm theory crafting Elwynn Boar being used in Dead Man's Hand is that you're essentially doing what you're wanting to do in Dead Man's Hand Warrior in terms of just, you know, removing and adding a whole bunch of cards into your deck. But I believe that if you're able to fit in a couple of cards to where you can set up this kind of OTK, then suddenly you can turn your Infinite Generation into an actual win con and just straight up kill your opponent. Maybe Dead Man's Hand Warrior players will disagree with me on this, but I think that being able to, like, you know, set up an infinite combo and then just hit them in the face with this weapon that takes their mana is a great way of being able to just, you know, end the game. And you have ways of being able to get multiple weapons, so I don't think you have anything to worry about. But the way that you set up this particular combo is that you play both of your boars, and then you play I'm sorry, you don't play the boars yet. You play your Dead Man's Hand in order to shuffle 2 more boars into your deck. And once you draw all 4 of those boars, you can play that into Terran Gorefiend. Then you can play Provoke on the Terran in order to get it killed by an enemy minion. And this card is just absolutely, like, busted, by the way. I think this is going to be one of the best cards printed in this set. But once your Terran dies, you can play Explosive Sheep into Animated Broomstick, trade the sheep, and then suddenly the boars will, you know, all die, giving you the weapon. And this is the build of the deck I've decided to make. It is more along the lines of a Enraged Warrior deck. But you still have the Dead Man's Hand because you just need to pop off that combo once. I am not a Dead Man's Hand Warrior player, so that's why I decided to not build this style of deck. I am a lot more familiar with this Enraged style because I've made a lot of memes that really take advantage of, like, Bloodsworn Mercenary, but really you don't even need that in this particular combo. You just need to focus on this setup here. You could technically do a a copy on this, but I really don't think that's the best way of going about it. But regardless, I still think that this warrior deck has some potential. Not going to be necessarily as good as like the priest or maybe even like the mage deck in terms of like consistency or reliability, but I still think that this deck has some potential. Last and most certainly least is going to be Demon Hunter, because good lord, trying to combo with this is like just, it's trying to make a Demon Hunter not go face, and that's just very, very difficult to do nowadays and actually win. But Demon Hunter actually has a pretty funny combo, not gonna lie, and this was one that Twitch chat actually helped me figure out. And yeah, Chromagus into double glide is absolutely hilarious if you're able to shuffle your Elwynn Boars. So the way that you're supposed to set up this combo in a perfect world is you play Chromagus into glide that will hopefully give you more of the boars. So that way you can play 2 of your boars. I'm sorry, you can play 4 of your boars into your Terran, kill it off with a broom, and then when your Terran brings them back, you can play Immolation Aura to kill off those boars. So you actually don't need double glide, and that's why the Thorison's in here, because you can discount the Chromagus and the glide to make that combo available for 10 mana. But, I mean, the biggest issue with this is you kind of need to deck yourself out and not die. So the only way that I thought to build this in a deck and have yourself, you know, maybe win is an OTK style of Demon Hunter deck. And I mean, it's essentially just Lifesteal Demon Hunter without the Il'gynoth, so you could just be playing a better deck. But I really can't think of a better idea for Demon Hunter, because good lord, trying to combo with this deck or with this class is sometimes impossible if you're not doing something with your face. So believe in your glides. They're 2 in the deck because sometimes you just might need the bullying aspect of your opponent, so that way if they have 9 cards, you just put them back down to 4, but you have to outcast it, so that's pretty unlikely. But this is a deck that is going to need a little bit of optimization, but you cannot deny that Chromagus and the Glide to give yourself more Elwynn Boars is not a hilarious deck archetype. The only issue with it is you have to essentially deck yourself out or get extremely lucky off of the Chromagus Glide interaction, but it's just better to be safe and just draw your entire deck, heal yourself along the way, and just remove and just try not to die. But Chromagus and the Glide, tell me something more spicier than that. And the for real last combo that I'll show you guys is actually the neutral combo. And something that was pretty funny about this one is that its order is kind of a little bit weird, but this is something that you can put into any deck. All you need is an Emperor discount on all of these cards in order to make it work. So an Emperor discount on 7 cards, pretty difficult to do, but you can squeeze this into any deck and survive until you draw all these cards and get the discount. Then it's actually not too hard in order to pull off. But, I mean, again, it's a neutral combo. There's no way to guarantee going face, so there's only so much that this particular combo can do. But in a perfect world, say there's nothing that's preventing you from going face, you can actually play your double boar into Terran Gorefiend, and then you can play Broom to somehow trade the Terran off into something. And then you can play Sheep into the second Broom, in order to trade off these other boars. You keep the sheep alive. You play the Highquisitor Whitemane in order to bring back 4 more boars. You trade off the sheep. The boars will die, and then you can go face. So you kind of need minions to trade into. You can kind of kill some taunts that way if you need to get rid of some damage. But this is not really going to be that consistent, but the possibility is there. So you memers out there, trust me, I better not see any excuses, because this is there, man. I come up with 11 combos, so now it's time for you guys to come up with 11 combos, and together we can break this Elwynn Boar card, because this is just the best card that has ever been conceived in Hearthstone. But that is going to conclude today's combo video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and pretty soon we will have the actual clips to back up these combos, because I'm going to have a lot of fun playing these decks on day 1. Hopefully I was able to maybe inspire 1 or 2 of you guys in order to pick up a boar deck on day 1, because this is just going to be one of the most fun cards that you will ever play if you're able to pull off this combo and have some pretty funny laughs. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you are a fan of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe, feel free to like, feel free to comment some other combos that I did not see, because there will be a standard combo video coming out pretty soon, but there might be some more wild combos that I didn't cover. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and you might get inspired to play boar yourself on day 1 and break the meta. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video.